Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this video that we've made for you guys. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Microsoft recall and the fucking nightmare that it is. That's right. Microsoft recall, in Microsoft's infinite wisdom, they've created this app that uses AI to do some pretty bad things to you in your own operating system. That's right. Well, it's not really your own and it never has been because Microsoft has always owned it, but they like you to believe the fallacy that it is yours. But before we start talking about that, I just want to ask you to take a real quick minute, please, to hit that thumbs up button, that subscribe button, if you haven't subscribed, and that recall button. That helps out the channel so much. So this is going to be a talking head video, guys. I'm sorry. I've read this article. It was brought to me a couple days ago, and I wanted to talk about it, but I just haven't had a chance to. And now I'm finally getting the chance to sit down and make the video. And I want to talk about it because what Microsoft has done to me is they've taken off the veil or the smoke and mirrors. They've blown it away of what they have always pretended to do. And well, they pretended to not do, but now they're showing that they really don't care and they are doing it. And that's that they always pretended to give you the fallacy that they were secure and that they cared about your security and your privacy. And that's why they didn't want you to jump to Linux or any other operating system for that matter. But the fact of the matter is in the end, Microsoft silently has been working against its users for decades. The inception was the discovery of the backdoors that they implemented into Windows that it got discovered, and then they made notice of it to everybody that, yeah, they've given the back door to all the agencies out there that ever wanted it. And of course, that being said, knowing that there were back doors and exploits, that's why Microsoft has been exploited so often and so vastly by every single entity out there, both criminal and, non-criminal organization out there. So Microsoft users have never had the security or their best interest put first and foremost by Microsoft. Linux, on the other hand, yes, it may be a pain in the ass to configure sometimes. It may be a pain in the ass to get the hang of it sometimes, only because you have to unthink of all the garbage that Microsoft has taught you to do. But in the end, it's always got your privacy first. Any bloat or any type of telemetry that you're going to find within Linux is always going to be opt-in, never where you have to opt out first. Rarely will you find that instance that you have to opt out. But even then, it's always never really detrimental type telemetry. That being said, Microsoft, again, in another step in this process that I'm talking about, with the exception of Windows 10, when you installed Windows 10 for the first time, you had that "Let's set up Windows 10 now" screen that happened. Yes, I install Microsoft every now and then on a virtual machine, never ever on bare metal, on a virtual machine, just to see what kind of bullcrap and effery they want to put onto people. And so Windows 10 instigated that whole splash screen and said, "Let's set up your Windows experience now." And you had all that telemetry that you had to go through to check, to tick on and off. Chris Titatek does a great job of creating a bloat script to get rid of that for you. But you have to go through it in order to even install. So once again, they were forcing you to do that, along with the whole TPM thing, which literally took away your own hardware from you. You could no longer buy the hardware you wanted, put it into a PC, and expect Windows to work on it anymore without passing the RAM check and the TPM check. So once again, they take more away from you. This time they were not behind the veil of secrecy. This was in the interest of security again. More security. Let's not kid ourselves. Microsoft does not give a crap about your security. Microsoft can go F off and die in a fire. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, this was the last step. When is it going to ring home to you Microsoft users out there? The ones who are toting that Microsoft flag. Yay, Microsoft. Let's go, Microsoft. They always do the best thing for me. When is it going to come to you? Now with recall. Let's talk about recall. Recall, the scope of recall, which Microsoft internally calls AI Explorer, is incredibly vast. Yeah, that's it, vast. It includes logging things that you do in your apps, tracking communications in live meetings, remembering all websites you visited for research, and more. All you need to do is perform a recall action, which is like an AI powered search, and it'll present a snapshot of that period of time that gives you the context of the memory. Okay, right here, it literally does, it logs everything you're doing on your computer, and you can recall it at an instant. Where do you see that? Some people will be like, still, they'll be like, this is an invasion of my privacy. Wait a minute. So we know there's backdoors that are already implemented in Microsoft that you cannot secure, that they've done themselves, and they keep open. And now they keep screenshots, snapshots, which is a Linux term, by the way, from snapper, a snapshot. They take all these screenshots and snapshots and keep it locally on your hard drive. Oh yeah, it's not a security breach if they keep it locally on your hard drive. They keep it on your hard drive so that you can recall it at any time. I'm sure there's as long as your space on your hard drive is X amount finite, you can only keep X amount of finite of snapshots. But nonetheless, they can come in at any time when they deem fit through their little protocol that allowed them to keep those back doors open, and I'm sure access those snapshots quite easily. Let's remember, they're the ones that made the snapshot. They're the ones that made the freaking backdoor. They know exactly where to find it. Therefore, ergo, by default, any agency out there or anybody who understands the way that they work will be able to get to whatever you want on your computer. When is this going to be enough for any average, everyday user who actually gives a crap about themselves? Just a smidge to say, you know what? I'm done with you, Microsoft. Move to a much safer freaking operating system, even if it's Mac. Holy crap, Mac doesn't do any, yes, it does have backdoors that's come out and said, but it doesn't do this kind of stuff and never has any intention to, and has proven not to have that kind of history, even though they are proprietary. So this coming from a free and open software kind of guy saying, hey, if you have to move to another proprietary software, let's make it Mac. And if you can't afford a Mac, well, then you've always got Linux. You've got my channel. You've got DistroTube. You've got LinuxCast. You've got the Linux Experiment. You've got tons of other Linux content creators out there that you could look up and see and learn how to do things and navigate around Linux and learn the Linux experience to the best of your ability. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. Don't let Microsoft own you like the little bitch, because that's what they're trying to do right now. Sorry, I got to call it what it is. If this is a little offensive, I'm sorry, you can thumbs down the video. Or if it's perfectly well said, then thumbs up the video. Either way, do what you got to do. And I'm going to see you in the very next one. Stop being stupid and dump Microsoft.